Hello and welcome to yet another episode of Final Over Attention, where we will break down IPL matches every week for you guys. And for our panel, we have Pritu Baskota, Ashik Lama, and Vardhan Chalise with us. Welcome back, guys.
Hey.
So, how do we feel about IPL this year?
Interesting. As of now, the table has been pretty interesting. Delhi leading as of now, as we expected, because they were 4-0. So we're expecting them to be on the number one seed anyways. But Gujarat right behind them with a game short, and then RCB is right around the corner, and as my favorite, Punjab is at number 4 chasing the dream as well. So yeah, I mean, the table's pretty open as of now. I guess it's still halfway done. Some of the teams still have to play the seventh game, but yeah, I think still open table. It's not like some of them has not won a game. It's still 2 game out of 7 games for Chennai, Sunrisers and Rajasthan. So anything can happen. If they lose 4, they might win 4 in a row and then come back right away. So it's still a decent table for me as of now.
Very intense week, lots of close matches and not much change in the table, but I mean, it's looking like it's going to change in this upcoming week because the teams from the bottom might come in the top 4 or 5 or maybe vice versa. So it's going to be an interesting week ahead.
3 interesting things happened this week, actually. I don't know if you guys paid attention to that. The first one is there was a low-scoring game. It was a good battle. Number 2, there was a high-scoring game that was chased. And number 3, there was a super over.
Yeah,
so
true.
Full of weeks, right? Since we saw each other last time. But the good part is Delhi played 3 games since. They're 2-1. Unfortunately, They couldn't do it against Mumbai, but they were very close. And what I really liked about Delhi in the last 2 games, let's talk about Mumbai Indians first, right? The last 2 games, and then we'll break down everything all together, is the fight that they brought in. So what brings them out, what brings them number 1, what makes them number 1 is the fight, even in the game that they lost. So that was pretty nice to see over this past week. So yeah, it was pretty much fun. So let's break it down even from the first game, Bangalore.
Bangalore versus Delhi Capitals. Of course, you see the smile on my face. Delhi's top of the table. They beat RCB by 6 wickets. So what do you guys have to say about this thriller?
I'll let Brad speak first. Yeah, Brad, why don't you go first?
Sure. Bangalore has been a good team. It's always been a batting team. They have good strikers most of the time, but 163 is very moderate score in my opinion. They had a great start with Kohli and Phil Salt. Kind of getting runs pretty quickly. They were at 60 at 4 over, and then all of a sudden it dipped. And then I think Roger Patidar, who is one of the great batsmen who has been scoring runs, had played a mediocre innings. And in my honest opinion, I think they should get rid of Devdutt Padikkal at this point of time at number 3. And he is coming as impact player, which is I don't think has any impact in this IPL for RCB. And I think they should kind of think about what they should do at this number 3 position, because that's kind of like putting them down, because he scored 1 out of 8. That's like over and a half for 1 run when you come at 61 for 1. So you can go and score runs out there basically, but he didn't do that. But yeah, on the other hand, Delhi winning, no, they just carried on. And then KL Rahul, here you go again.
I was just gonna mention how KL was so close to getting that century. But yeah,
Right. Yeah. So as talking about how RCB lost another game at home, so that's their, I think, another consecutive losses at home, and they got to a pretty decent start, but then the innings never got going in the middle order. They just scored 160 odd. But thanks to Tim David, I think he played another really fantastic innings, lower down the order, again coming in when the chips were down, when they needed some runs. And just Tim David came on and just scored, I think, 37 off 20 balls with 4 sixes. So that's what he does, right? So I think his innings was absolutely fantastic. But then DC, soft to KL Rahul, he just scored a brilliant 93. And it was at Bengaluru, so after we saw the celebrations, right? He just marked his territory right there, stamping the bat on the ground. And that was something amazing to see from KL Rahul. He was just phenomenal in the chase.
Right. I mean, you see, in today's date, they are so exposed. I'm pretty sure he had to show this. There was something under him. There was some kind of, because now he's being let go from Lucknow, and Bangalore kind of gave him a hint that, hey, I think there is a space for you and we really like you. We need you. They, I think, kind of had this kind of conversation offline, which is what's coming out in the media. And then they
Of
also
course, yeah.
under auction, right? But they didn't buy him. And he wasn't sold for too expensive. You know, he was only gone for 14 crore rupees. But nevertheless, what I would say is the winner eventually is Delhi Capitals. They let Rishabh Pant go and they brought somebody very identical and who's performing even better for almost half of the price, 14 crores.
Definitely. And when we look at the next match, that would be CSK versus KKR. That was quite of a stinker for CSK. They struggled since the beginning, especially against spin bowling. Sunil Narayan, he was just shining in that match, and unfortunately, CSK put their lowest ever IPL total at Chapak, so at home. It was just a terrible game for CSK. They have to come back. They're at the bottom of the table. But MSD is back now. So hopefully we'll see some good things. And let's talk more about LSG versus Gujarat Titans. What do you guys have to say about that match?
Yeah, so GT got off to a flyer. They got to like 120 of 12 overs. I think what they got at the end was really less than what they would have hoped for. I think they should have scored anything over 200 for them to give a decent fight to LSG. But I think it was a superb start. Again, Sai Sudarshan scored really nicely as he has been doing throughout the tournament. But then I think overall they should have been disappointed with the score that they got, and it was a pretty good chase from LSG, I should say.
Yeah. I think Sudarshan and Subham Gill has been, and Sai has been in super form, and Subham has been like scoring runs. So they had a great start, 120 odd runs in 12 overs, and then folding out for like 180 for 6 is not acceptable in this kind of with this kind of start.
Middle order failed, right?
Yeah. So they should have get going. Like Josh Butler was not able to do anything, which would have been an impact player. Surfing Rutherford as an impact player, he has really good impact, but he was not able to keep going on this. So hats off to LSD bowlers who kind of tied them back to 180. So scoring 60 odd runs in 8 overs with 9 wickets remaining, or with even 10 wickets. That's a fabulous bowling performance from the LSG team. And on batting side, I guess Aiden Markram lead from the front. He's the captain of South Africa team. Always been a big fan of this guy. Haven't seen in that of a big role because he's been like shadowed by the EP and other players at this point of time, but he has been constantly scoring runs for Lucknow at this point of time. So for Gujarat, I think bowling has been pretty average. Siraj has to kind of pick up, from his bowling side. He has to.
Although he has been doing well, but then it's been in patches, right?
Right. He's not consistent at this point of time because they need somebody like that who can be persistent for.
Special mention to, Brad. Special mention to I think Digvesh Rathi again for LSG. He bowled really fantastically as he has been doing throughout the tournament, and I mentioned in the last discussion as well that although he has not been getting wickets, but his economy has been fantastic. Just 4 overs, 28 runs in most of the matches. But in the context of the game, it's really crucial. His 4 overs has been really good for LSG, and Rishabh Pant here has been using him fantastically well.
True, means impact player should be like that. He come as an impact bowler, impact sub, right? And then he bowl really well, and then that creates the pressure from one end that kind of gives you wicket on the other end.
Right.
So it's playing in team, like just like when you strike or it's striking, the other batsman can take some time to kind of rotate the strike and get set, and then start scoring as well. The same thing, Rathi has been that kind of bowler for LSG, which has been really handy from a bowling unit, because it's come as a surprise. I was reading about him the other day, and this guy can bowl 16 hours in net, and I was like, wow, that's crazy.
He's like a machine.
That's fab. I was like, I think he will, like in dreams, he will keep rotating his arms, like, he'll bowl in his dreams too. So 16 hours
He's like
quite
typical Delhi boy, He's from Delhi as well, and he has that fire in his belly. He just wants to do well at the big stage, and really happy to see him doing well. Got a small insight about Digvesh Rathi is that the guys who has played with him, their coaches never let him bowl the leg cutters and all the variations, carom balls. He was just supposed to be an orthodox off spinner, but the coach didn't let him bowl the other ones. But then he was so confident in his ability that he started bowling those, and then we see the results. He's performing at the biggest stage, the biggest domestic tournament in the world, the IPL. Because he was a big fan of Sunil Narayan, as we can see, and he also got him out. But then he has been doing really well, and happy to see a local guy coming in and performing at the biggest stage.
Exactly.
Mindset, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
Right, sure.
So yeah, for me, this game in particular, there was not much of a difference when it came to Gujarat's batting. This is how they start, they start high. But the total was pretty good too, and especially in the second inning, it wasn't too much. But one thing was really interesting to see how Rishabh Pant opened with Aiden Markram, right? Badoni again,
Right.
great knock with his bat, like always. So it's always interesting. It's always good to see him perform. He's always contributing, always doing something, and he's always doing with the bat. So
Rashid Khan has not been that impactful. So I wanna see him perform because he's a class bowler. I think he's not been used properly, or I don't know. Something's wrong. He has that talent. He has been performing every tournament that he plays. So this is the first time that I've seen Rashid not being on his tools.
Since you mentioned Rashid Khan, there was this graph that showed his comparisons from the previous years of IPL and this year, and it's pretty much shambolic at this point. At this point of stage, his stats has not been what his normal stats would look like in the previous years. So I think he really needs some confidence, and one good match where he picks up like three for, and he should be back on track. But as of now, I think he really needs to step up for them.
Now let's talk about somebody who has been performing well. So let's talk about Sunrisers Hyderabad versus Punjab Kings. Abhishek Sharma, what a player! He's on a roll. He's on a swing. I want to also talk about the whole paper thing when you pulled out the paper from his pocket, which was very interesting.
that he always writes something. And that particular morning, he just woke up and he wrote it, and he kept it, and he had a feeling. So athletes, those are the kind of days that you genuinely feel like. I think Prithu and Brad, you two can kind of relate to it even more closely since you've been there, done that. Even Shreyas here said that there is not much you can do in such kind of games. So
Exactly.
this is what happens. It's this IPL. You expect this kind of results, this kind of ending. So so over and out to you guys. Brad?
Yeah, I mean, so as you mentioned, every player goes through this. It's just like Abhishek Sharma, puts something on his pocket or thinks about it. Every player has that mindset. When you go, when there's a game, you think about different things. You always want to score runs. You stay positive. You stay focused. I didn't have anything in my pocket ever, but the era has changed. Our eras were completely different. We were allowed to have color up because coaches didn't like that back in the day. So, but yeah, when we go and bat, you always want to do well and score runs, and then you stay positive. Basically, that's what it is. So yeah, as Ashik mentioned, not much to talk about the game. High scoring game, fantastic game, but we want, from a viewer's point of view, we want some excitement, and they've won pretty comprehensively. Abhishek Sharma, he just blasted this game completely, and 141 out of 55 is a magical inning. So I want to see more of him, and also Travis said it. I really want to see more of Henry Claassen on Sunrisers Hyderabad. To be honest, he's been a little shadowed at this point of time.
I mean, his fellow Markram kind of risen up, so it's his time to do some
shine.
Yeah, I think his innings, Sheikh Sharma's innings was really courageous, and we all know what a big hitter he is. His sixes are just huge. He gets that elevation, he gets that distance. He holds the top of the handle, and it just hits long sixes. But Punjab's innings was fantastic as well. I mean, scoring 245s with JSL getting some good score, another good score, 82. Priyansh Arya, another century in the previous match, got 36. So I think they were really nice at the bottom innings as well. Stoinis got a really good 34. And then I think Abhishek Sharma just stole the show, wasn't it? It was a blockbuster of a match, but it turned out to be a blockbuster for Abhishek Sharma. And he was really lucky as well. He got out in a no ball, got caught at the boundary, but then it was a big no ball. So lots of drama. That's what IPL is all about, It's blockbuster matches, high scoring matches. And it was fantastic to watch him just killing the ballers literally just all around the park, and huge sixes and highest score for an Indian guy in the IPL. So that's another record in his repertoire.
And on top of that, he got complimented from as Sachin Ramesh Tendulkar, So that was the great
Of
thing
course,
for him,
yeah.
to be honest.
No
Like,
doubt.
that's every I think every Indian cricketer would love to have that. I think that's gonna give him more, or I think courage, or he wanna perform more. The boost is gonna be higher because it's coming from Tendulkar. Is like crazy, and every cricketer I think is like super fan of Sachin Ramesh Tendulkar.
One more fact about Abhishek Sharma's innings that he's the youngest cricketer now in the Indian list to get most number of centuries. So I think he's third on the list behind Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli, and he's just 23 or 24. So
Interesting.
that's a crazy stat. Yeah.
And his strike rate was above 250. So he's been on.
It had to be. 246 to be chased down in 17 overs and with 10 balls to spare. I think that was just amazing.
Yeah.
Right.
Now let's talk about RCB versus RR. Not much happening here. RCB won the match very easily with both bat and the ball. They only lost 1 wicket and completed the chase. And Virat Kohli had a half century. Phil Salt had an explosive start. So it was just all around very RCB dominated match. I want to talk about MI versus DC. Unfortunately, Delhi lost the match by 12 runs. But what do we have to say about that?
Okay, I think that's the first match that Delhi lost, right?
Right.
Yeah. So I wanted Delhi to lose, of course. You know what I mean. I didn't want them to win all the games, and
At some point, some team would lose a match, right?
True, but I was vouching for Mumbai Indians because from a audience standpoint, I want the table to look really pretty and then competitive because every game is going to be more exciting, thrilling, nail biting because the effort is going to be double from the players because now their reputation is in line, the name is in line, and then everybody want to win a game. So because of table too, and the Mumbai Indians has, as we always talk about, have a tendency to come back. We talked about in last episode too that they might come back and. They're proving that, you know what I mean? Back-to-back game winning for them. And then this was a very up and down game. I watched this game completely fully and then Mumbai scoring 205. Delhi was very close to win this game. I was like, wow, when Mumbai is losing 205 and then boom, everything changed. And then few quick wickets. Santer bowled pretty well in this game. He put his head cool and then, I think, Karun Sharma did the magic on this game. So I think and players to be noted on this would be Karun Nair after his IPL re-entry after 7 years. And
7 years.
7 years, and this guy was going boom,
Long
boom,
time.
boom. I was not expecting Karun to do that, but you know what? There was a fab hitting from Karun Nair. Hats off to him. He played amazingly well, but it just got out at the wrong time. So hats off to Sandra.
He was coming in with a rich vein of form. He's been performing absolutely brilliantly in the domestic circuit. Shahid Mushtaq Trophy, Vijay Hazare Trophy. He's averaged some tournament. He was averaging over 100. So it was really good to see him come back and play in the IPL. He just took Bumrah to all parts of the ground. He scored 27 runs off Bumrah, and to score of Bumrah is a hard job throughout the globe. He's been admired for his really great bowling skills, and to come off against a top bowler like Bumrah scoring runs. He got really disappointed that he couldn't get them over the line. Santner bowled a beauty to get rid of him. He had to do it because he was not getting out in any other delivery. And I think they were winning the match quite comfortably while Karun was there. But then as soon as he got out, they lost their way in the middle. And kudos to them as well. I think Hardik Pandya was really proactive as a captain. And they needed this win. It was a much needed win for MI. And 12 runs they won by, and which was really good on their part.
I remember having multiple runouts. This is the same game. Yeah, 3 runouts in the
Hat trick of runouts, yeah.
19th over, and I think I remember Santner bowling that 19th over, got hammered for a 6th in the first ball, and they had some they were raising questions about why he's been brought back to bowl the 19th over when he had 2 seamers left, like 1 over each for I think somebody else. But anyways, he came back and he did pretty well, three runouts,
Exactly.
and then just changed the game.
Yeah, I mean, not too much to talk about that particular game since my Capitals lost, but nevertheless, hats off to Karun Nair. I think his one of his older tweet was going viral, right? Give me one opportunity in Dear IPL, something like that.
Yeah, dear cricket. Yeah.
Right, Dear Cricket, give me one opportunity. It was something like that. It was really like heart touching, and it's
Touching.
so nice to see somebody coming back after so many years and do it. Meaning, like other than that, not too long ago, it's not just Indian domestic circuit, but he played in England, top tier team, and he was playing even with Tregs, Peter Trego. And he was co-commentating. He was playing first-class cricket, and he was scoring tons of runs.
Yeah, like he has done always. Like even in a
Right.
test match against England in India, he scored a triple century.
Right.
Sure.
I even mentioned to Tregs, like Tregs, if you're watching, I hope you're well. But yeah, I mentioned to him, man, like what is this guy doing? It's like, yeah, he's on fire. Like that's how much
Certainly is.
he had while he was batting there too.
I was
They
expecting
deserve it.
three from him in the game, but hopefully in the next game he's gonna do the same, continue the momentum. Now let's talk about Lucknow Super Giants versus Chennai Super Kings. The match we've all been waiting for. MS Dhoni back as the captain, and he obviously finished the match for CSK. CSK won the match by 5 wickets. Man of the match, of course, Thala Dhoni. So what do you have to say about
MST.
Yeah, let's go MSD.
Right.
You know what a
It's the
game!
same day.
Fantastic.
It's the same day. I think it was last podcast we were shooting last week, right? And we talked about it offline that hey, this might be possibility because Chennai is not doing well, and we might see Thala coming back. And the very next morning, that's what I saw, and I took a screenshot and shared with you guys. I was like, universe is listening.
Yeah, although he came back in the match against KKR, they lost quite miserably there. But this match, I mean, he stepped up again. He was awarded man of the match. That was quite surprising on my part because I think Noor Ahmed bowled fantastically well. 4 overs, 13 runs. He didn't get a wicket, but 4 overs, so 13 runs in an IPL game is just truly amazing. And the way they chased the innings again, MSD coming at a crunch situation. He got 26 of 11 balls, if I'm not wrong, and that was it was really a great win for CSK and much needed one like MI, right? So they had to get a win under their belt. They was at the bottom of the table with just one win, and they needed this win. And Captain Poole steps up second game as a captain in this season, and he delivered. So it was a good game overall for CSK.
Absolutely. Means as Pritu mentioned, Noor bowled really well. No wonder he's having the
4 overs,
orange
13
cap.
runs.
Yeah, he didn't
Yeah,
have the wickets, but
that's-
he's still the top wicket taker at this point of
Yeah.
time without having any wickets in this game as well. But that being said, just like you said, you expect 166, very low total to chase. But they collapsed as usual.
Mhm.
Came back in a situation where they had they were 111 wins for 5.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
he's playing with
They
Shivam
needed
Dube.
an innings like what
True.
Dhoni played.
True, and then if you say so, Shivam Dube was playing with a strike rate of 116. That means he
Yeah, he
started
was
like
struggling.
he was struggling, and then Dhoni kind of changed the momentum by scoring quick runs. With a strike rate of 236. But as people mentioned, he can't bat more than 10,
10
4 5
overs,
overs. Yeah, but he came back, and he always been crucial like that. That's what he's been doing for the last 4, 5, 6 IPL, and he's been very
Right.
effective. So I think from my point of view, Rachin has to step up big time for Chennai because he played pretty well. He's been like scoring in the start, but getting out in the
Please.
wrong
20s and
the
30s.
wrong time because he's the kind of guy who should bat throughout for Chennai Super Kings. And then
He's
that's what
opening the
he's
innings.
expecting.
He needs to
Correct.
convert.
The big score, so he needs to get these 80, 90s for Chennai since Ritu is not there anymore. And then I'm very impressed with this new guy Sheikh Rashid, the straight drive he played. He was very bold. That was the first game, so I was kind of excited to see him bat in this game as well.
Nice. Yeah, for me the highlight was actually Lucknow kind of getting some money back. Rishabh Pant scored 60 some runs, right, in this game?
Yeah, true.
So yeah, I mean that was basically the highlight of that game. Other than that, everything was as it is. The first game the previous game he scored 20 some runs when he came opened, and then this game he came back to his regular position where he usually bats and scored good 60s. It's pretty good. Hopefully he scores some more runs and we get to see some more actions and 360 degrees.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, should we talk about Punjab versus KKR match? What do we have to say about that match? Punjab won the match by 16 runs. It was pretty close, and it was very low-scoring game as well.
Yeah, it was our director AJ crying in the group. He was talking crap. It's like Punjab fans must be crying right now. If you guys remember.
Yes.
Yeah. Just 112 to defend. Yeah, you never thought that it would be defended, especially in a tournament like IPL where just batters just go berserk. And especially for KKR, they just won their last match. A similar target, 107, 108 against TSK. They just blasted their innings where Sunil Narayan just came up and finished it off in a flash. But then again, this match was completely different, right? Punjab, they scored 111. And KKR, they were trying to finish it off quickly as well, but then absolutely brilliant bowling performance from Punjab. Yuzvendra Chahal just showing his class. And I read the other day that Ricky Ponting asked him if he could play, and he was not, since he was having a shoulder injury, like he was not 100%, but then he just said, I'll just come up there and show what I've got. And that's what he did. He came up 4 wickets in a low-scoring killer. I think that was the best match so far. Low-scoring games are always the best, and especially in the IPL, where that's the lowest total ever defended in the IPL history of 18 years. So that it needed to be something special from Punjab, and that's what Yuzvendra Chahal did. And also from Shreyas Iyer's point of view as a captain, the decisions he made, bowling changes, it was truly something spectacular to watch as a viewer as well. Great win for Punjab, one for the record books.
Absolutely. Now scoring 111, Nielsen is pretty interesting. It's a pretty low scoring game, and then Ajinkya and then the Raghuvanshi was going pretty well, for
After 2 wickets, yeah.
Absolutely. But what I'm saying is, like, in this innings, what I've noticed is they brought in Josh English instead of Stoinis, which is a good move. Actually, I really like that. But I think Glenn Maxwell should have been rested and Stoinis should have played this game. Maybe they wanted to have an extra spinner in the game, off spinner. That's what the thought process was. But Maxwell has not been in a great form, either batting or either bowling wise. So I think they're putting Josh English was a great move, as well as if they can put in Stoinis instead of Glenn Maxwell, Punjab's going to be a super side. And back to my point from the first episode, the bowling lineup. Yes, I understand that they lost the game when they were defending 245, but the same bowling unit came back and defended 111. So that's what great bowling team will do. Sometimes they lose. It's just a batting wicket. Abhishek Sharma, that was Abhishek Sharma's day.
It was his day.
It was this day. No, nothing could have been done at this point of time. But if you look at these games, KKR being a strong batting unit, Punjab delivered. Punjab bowlers delivered really well, and Chahal showed his quality. He was being pretty quiet, in previous game, but he kind of showed how effective he can be in this kind of games. And then hats off to bravo to the captain, Shreyas Iyer. I'm a huge fan of this guy. Very composed, very calm. Did not show any fear or he didn't show frustrated. Even there was few boundaries. He was very calm about it. He was confident he's going to win the game. So he was fighting throughout. And
so he had to prove a point as well. It was KKR here. They were playing against him. He won a trophy with them last year. So although he got out in a knot.
Yeah, for me, where he won the game was when he gave that 4th over to Yuzi Chal, knowing Russell is waiting. Let's be honest, but it was the statement that, okay, if you want to hit, okay, if you think you're the best, I'm gonna put my best.
Exactly.
He also needed that. I mean, it doesn't matter. He got hammered, but he could have gotten.
It was the best matchup they could have had.
This reminds me of something that Prithvi have told me in the past. Right now, when you get your opponent your best batter, you gotta get your best bowler in. So that's exactly what point of time. Because if Russell's gone, game over. So he took that chance. Yes. But he got hammered for about 16 odd runs. But John was at like 3 over 12 runs, 4 wickets. You know what I mean at this point of time. So he had to give it to him at this point of time. So he can take his
amazing figures.
Yeah, so hats off to Punjab. They showed what kind of bowling unit they have, and they deserve a win. With this bowling unit as well.
Definitely want to highlight Marco Jansen, 24-year-old South African lad. 3 wickets and his economy was 5.4. Super impressed by that guy, and Shreyas Iyer made the right choices for his bowling attack. I really want to mention the thickness of the bat has been a real issue here, especially with hard hitters really getting those runs out there. What do we have to say about it? The rule was always there, but I think they've made it more stricter this year. So what are your opinions?
Well, you gotta go by the rule. You know what I mean? There is the thickness of the bat, the width of the bat. There's always matter. on the batting side. So yeah, they have to go by the rules, and I'm very happy to see that, like, umpires carrying these measurement thing, showing like
Right.
how, and that's embarrassing for from a cricketing aspect. So I think these guys not gonna bring any kind of bat going forward, knowing that they have this
Interesting. You know,
measurement. Yeah.
the interesting thing about it was, Brad, that they did it in the middle of the match because there was this loophole. The rules are always there for the bat, having such and such dimensions. But the rules were always there. But then there was a loophole in the earlier IPLs where the bat test was done before the match, and then players would go to the dressing room, and while they batted, they just would bring in another bat. But then this time around, it was different. So where KKR, three batsmen during the match on-field test, their bats failed. Sunil Narayan, I think it was, and one was Andre Nokia, and then the other was Andre Russell. So their test, they failed the test, and then since they're on in, it's been really different. So I think you got to abide by the rules, and the rules are there to be followed. They figured out the umpiring diaspora, the fraternity decided that they need to test it during the match because, like I mentioned earlier, the batsman would go in the dressing room, give another bat at the beginning of the match, and then when they came on to bat, they would bring another thicker dimension bat. So the bat gauge has been used in effect, and it's all for the better of the game.
Now, the most interesting part about today's episode, the Super Over. For me and Ashita, it was very thriller game, but of course, Mitchell Stark saved the day. What do we have to say about that game? I was on my feet the whole time.
Well, I mean, I was all nervous. I was watching. I didn't know if the game was going to go that far to begin with because Rajasthan was literally 100 and some for 1 wicket.
Right.
I turned it off because I had another meeting to jump in, and I turned back on, and I'm like, okay, they're getting closer. And I turned it off for like 5 more minutes, and I turned back on. It's getting more closer, right? And then, eventually I didn't realize we're in super. So, super was pretty fun to watch. It's like there was a no ball, I guess, right?
It was a no ball in
Super. The second ball. So that was kind of nerve-wracking because I thought this game was gonna go somewhere between like 17, 18 runs in the first innings, and it's always struggle for the chasing team to chase that score when it comes to super. We only have 6 balls to go, but I think locking them in 11 runs, 12 runs, that was pretty good. And KL Rahul, when he was there, I was like, fine, he's gonna get it. So, but I knew they were gonna win there on a safer hand because they lost 2 wickets. They didn't play the last ball. So that's one set of mentality that the batting team goes out with. Oh, I could have played that one ball and scored this much run. So that creates doubt in you. So coming back, you always think, oh, I'm 1 ball short, right? So I'm 1
That's
ball.
right.
So this is how they were probably thinking. But then again, KL Rahul, the guy who now knows how to make the circle and put the bat on, so he did the job for Delhi. So I'm glad to see that.
You're talking about Mitchell Stark's over. I think the 20th over was the game changer. Whatever happened up until that point, he had to defend 9 runs of the last over, and there were really big hitters on the pitch at that moment, and he came in delivering those reverse swinging Yorkers at 90 miles an hour, and he was bowling absolutely super deliveries. No one could have got underneath those. The only way to score off a Yorker is the paddle, and he was bowling at 90 miles, so you got to be courageous and go down on your knees to play that paddle as well. And he just showed his class. That was the best bowling performance from Mitchell Stark. Although he has taken 5 wickets earlier in the tournament, but that over of his in the last 20th over, and also the super over. But then that 20th over where he had to defend just 9 runs, you would back the batsman to get those runs. But being the kind of bowler Mitchell Stark is, he brought out his A game at the last moment, and then those reverse swinging Yorkers was something different. And I also like to stress on the fact that how we discussed about the saliva coming into the game, and how it's going to impact. There it is, Mitchell Stark delivering the perfect example, the reverse swinging Yorkers, where you just fired it into the toes. No one could get under it, and that was the game changer for the Capitals. Even the super over, something magnificent, the way he came in. The pressure was such that the RR batsmen got run outs. So, they couldn't find ways scoring off him, and they tried to run as much as they could, and they got run out. Both of the batsmen got run out with a ball remaining. So that's where I think the tables turned for PC Capitals, Mitchell Stark's over.
Right. That's true. Absolutely. And we talk about like saliva, last episode, and we mentioned that foreign, like international, like or like players from abroad is going to use that pretty well, and that's a pure example of Stark using that in the last game, but in this game. But I think Rajasthan should have won this game within that 20 over time frame, because they should have chased this game pretty well. And then one mistake that I've realized was in 19.5 over, when Dhruv Jurel could have taken that double that when he denied, because Hetmeyer's I think he drive it to the onside, asking for a double, and then he stopped.
Yeah.
You cannot do that. You should take that chance of taking that 2 runs and tie up the game, because the last ball is just a single run that you can take a chance instead of going to a super over. So that was pretty. I was not that happy to see when Jurel kind of stopped Hetmeyer for the second, because they were just 4 wicket down, and Hasaranga was still to come. Who could have been a striker? Another thing, on this game, I was really surprised Sandeep Sharma bowling the super over, where you have Jofra Archer, who is more quicker and lethal and could bowl Yorkers as well. So I don't know, Sandeep won the game for RR last time, bowling the 920th over. So that might be a mindset, but yeah, for me it was a kind of surprise.
And also for RR, I think their decisions were quite surprising in this match, because they brought in for the super over, they brought in Shimron Hetmeyer and Rian Parag to bat. So with Mitchell Stark coming in and reversing the ball into the pads, I think 2 left-handers would have been a better option. And also Nitish Rana was really playing well in that match. He almost had them cross over the line, and even Yashasvi Jaishal would have been a better option opening the innings in the super over. But then they opted for Rian Parag. Maybe the left and right hand combination with Mitchell Stark not being as consistent, they would have thought that way. But then I think it was quite wrong on their part to send in Rian Parag in place of, you'd say, Nitish Rana, who had scored a brilliant 70 odd.
True.
Well, I'm just happy with the results. Delhi won in super overs. I've never had a bad
That's all you
experience.
need, Sarwani.
I've never had a bad experience of Delhi going to a super over and losing. Like, I've always had good memories. So
Yeah, I mean, out of 4 super overs, they have won 3.
yes.
That's the stats.
So I've never been disappointed with my team on that. So leaving on a positive note, that was a good analysis. Thank you so much, guys, for joining. We will be back again next week with more in-depth analysis, some fun moments from this IPL 2025, which is getting more and more interesting week after week. So please stay with us, and we'll be back next week. Thank you, Prithu, Ashik, and Bardhan. See you next time.
Ciao.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.